Hey folks, Jason the Dead Card Gamer here. Today I thought I'd bring you something just a little bit different than what we usually do. Today you can see that I am, in fast forward, sorting a full box of Star of the Guardians booster packs. Just a little something different, kind of show you the method I go through when I am sorting cards. First, what I'm doing here is going through and I'm going to be sorting this one alphabetically. And not just strict alphabetical, but actually keeping all of the different ship types together. Mostly because that's the way the checklist that I had has them sorted as well. So starting out with 3 different piles, one for anything that starts with A through G. The second is anything that is H through Q, or no, H through P rather, excuse me. And then Q through Z for the third pile. Basically, this is a method that my brother showed me at some point. It's kind of dividing the alphabet up to every time that you take a breath when you're saying it. So it's A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z. So use those breath points to kind of break the alphabet roughly into thirds, and it works pretty well. You usually end up with pretty even piles. You can see actually at this point is where I went back through some of the piles and decided to separate the squadron cards, which I was not originally separating, but then I felt like I had every other ship type separated by types, so might as well do squadrons as well. I'm also up at the top there kind of throwing at the different ship lane cards, which are used, like there are 5 different lanes of battle in the game, so positioning your ships toward the front or back of those lanes, and you can only attack into your own lane unless you have special abilities, that kind of thing. So there's A through E on those special lane cards, and then there's also a point card, which you see on top right there right now, and there's another card that I want to say is like structure of a turn or something to that effect. But yeah, so just go through and sort the entire box into those 3 large groups. Then kind of break down each of those stacks individually. The first one I'll be breaking down is the A through G, and I do those in just individual letter. First word in the card name divides it into a different pile. Across the top we got ABC, then D, E, F, and then the bottom pile by itself is G. Also you can see that I keep throwing a couple into the later stacks because these cards kind of stick together a little bit, and I was sorting this as fast as I could. I'm also basically I usually sit and sort cards while I watch TV. I think during this one I was watching an old 80s sci-fi show called UFO. It's on Hulu. You should look it up. It's pretty good stuff. Kind of crazy. The main stacks that you'll get when sorting this one are going to be the different kinds of ships. I believe on this one, yeah. So once you have it broken down by letter, then you start sorting individual cards. In this instance, I was mostly separating the ships. As you can see here, I've got anything that's not a ship going in one pile, and then it looks like that's going to be, I'm sorting the D's, so there's destroyers and then going through the destroyers and just sorting each of those individually. This whole process in total took me about 1 hour and 20 minutes to sort through one box of cards, 36 packs. I want to say this is 15 cards per pack, so quite a few cards going through and just put them in all in order so that I can check them against the checklist and see how close I am to completing a set. Once I get everything sorted, I actually have a book called the Scry Collectible Card Game Checklist and Price Guide. The second edition is the one that I have. I've actually got a couple of copies of it for some reason. I don't know why. Somehow I rebought that. But anyway, if any of you remember Scry, the old gaming magazine, they put out a big, thick book of checklists of pretty much every collectible card game that had come out to that point. and I use that to get checklists for a lot of games. I think it only goes up to about 2003, though, and after that, there are plenty of resources online for finding checklists. Board Game Geek usually has checklists in their file sections, or I think I've mentioned it in other videos, Jeff Allender's House of Cards or House of Checklists, something to that effect. I'll provide a link to that in the notes for this video down at the bottom. Both great resources for finding checklists for any old game that you're looking for. This game had a lot of duplication. This I can tell right now just by glancing at it that I'm sorting the L's, where most of the personality cards, which I'm going through right at the moment here, are in, because all of them are legendary this, legendary that, legendary deck officer, legendary gunner, legendary colonel. It's so you've got all these legendary characters plus all the light cruisers. L was actually a very uh, big stack of cards on this one. And actually, as I was going through, I wondered if maybe I should, instead of keeping all those ship types together, sort them by the individual names of them, and then have light cruiser, I don't know, be its subtype. But it just seemed like that would be incredibly hard to find anything if I was ever actually going to try and build decks. Sometimes I sort things differently if it's a game that I play versus a game that I just collect. Usually strict alphabetical is how I do it if I'm just collecting it. But if it's a game I actually play, I usually like to sort things by card type, so that I keep everything together. For instance, Tempest of the Gods, one of the other games that I've done a few videos on here, I actually like to sort by card type, so, and by alignment. So I'll have all of the good cards together, and have all the good followers, and then all the good champions and guardians, and all the way up to the good deities, and then have the same thing for all the evil cards, and then the same thing for all the chaotic cards, and the same for all the neutral cards. Just makes deck building, I think, a little bit easier when you can just, you've got a hole to fill that is just a certain type of card, rather than having to look through everything sorted alphabetically and depend on your memory to know, what that card is and what it's called. You can actually just look it up by type. I kind of glossed over it. I was talking about other stuff, but there was a little bit of an edit there. The camera actually ran out of memory on me, so that was kind of a pain. Stopped what I was doing and reset things. But still a pretty full, pretty constant feed here. And anyway, we're just about done sorting this. Like I say, total it took about an hour and 20 minutes. And anyway, that's sorting a box of Star of the Guardian cards. Thank you for watching. Give me a like if you think this is cool. Maybe comment, let me know. And subscribe to the channel. And if you want to see more sorting, let me know. I'd be glad to do it. I gotta sort all these cards anyway. Might as well film myself while I'm doing it, right? Anyway, this is Jason, the Dead Card Gamer. Have a good one.